Well, last week, it is, as I said, it is hot here in Germany. And last week, I think it was Wednesday morning for me. I could not sleep. I got up, and as usual, when I cannot sleep, I'm checking the news. I'm going on YouTube, checking it. And I saw a live stream coming from Jimmy Dore. And, well, as I said, I've never seen something like this before. It was mind-blowing. Okay, I got to tell you that I was not familiar with the past of TYT, for example. I learned to know them, I think it was in early 2015, when at that time they were advocating for Bernie heavily. And this is where I made my connection with TYT. I had absolutely no clue what this channel was before. And you can imagine how my reaction was to what I saw there, and I think we should start with the first clip when it started. I think everyone who is watching us is familiar with what's going on there. It started with Jimmy Dore called it a blackmail attempt by Kasparian, and it's surrounded about a very, very bad joke made by Jimmy Dore, and went further into harassment accusations coming from Kasparian, which were defended by Jimmy with his views on this, and with described examples what TYT did before. To give you a short impression of what I think was the worst thing of it all, I chose only one because I think we don't have to repeat them all. It was absolutely crazy, and whoever wants to look it up again, they should go directly to Jimmy Dore's channel. Please roll the first clip, Markus.
Ever put up this censored picture here, Jesus, okay? She looks beat. I don't care if she doesn't have any hair down there. She looks terrible. Her legs are like fatty and creamy and pale and disgusting. And then her hair is screwed up and her face looks bad. She looks so bad there that I wouldn't even do her.
Well, I think this normally goes under, under, I think, 90s locker room talk, man locker room talk. And I could not imagine that they did this openly, as a news or entertainment news segment.
Markus, who was she referring to, by the way?
Okay, and exactly that's the next point. They refer to in many cases of what Jimmy Dore showed to Britney Spears, and and I think this makes it double worse in my opinion, because Britney Spears at that point, she was knowingly a more or less helpless person, and she was literally lying on the ground. And they're taking a profit out of it, by stomping their feet on this person. I was, I could not believe what I saw there, But this is only the intro, my first experience where I started to dislike Cenk was a couple of years ago when he was stuck at an airport, and I think it was a Delta flight, and he behaved incredibly arrogant and pompous, and he threatened the females behind the desk, who were trying to calm down the passengers. We can discuss about the service Delta offers, but his behavior, it was over the top, and this is exactly what he oftenly shows, in my opinion, my personal opinion, when he presents news. He does it too much for my taste, and this is one of the parts why I never took him too seriously as a news person, you know. When I finally quit TYT, watching TYT again, was not long after. It was directly after they jumped ships, and when Bernie was clear that he had to give the nomination to Hillary Clinton, he directly jumped ships and went over to the Hillary Clinton campaign and promoted them. These were the things where I said, okay, this guy is not serious. He is not representing the values, you know, I would expect from someone who describes himself to be on the left. You know, I think this explain it to myself. You know. Anyway, let's come to the weak point. Jimmy Dore made a major mistake, I think, in his reply, in his response. The major mistake, and I could not grab it for a couple of days. And honestly, my girlfriend helped me to get this. What was his problem? He said at the time when the bad joke incident, I would call it like this, happened, and he apologized, and Anna said she accepted his apology. Everything was okay again.
Could you remind us what the bad joke was?
Oh, okay. Well, as I said, I think everybody knows what it was about. But okay, here it is. It seems that in the newsroom, Anna and her students where they watched how show was produced, and due to Jimmy Dore, she was wearing a short skirt, and at a certain situation she bent over, and everyone, including Jimmy Dore, could see her butt, including her thong, and he made the joke, a nice new skirt, Anna. And according to Jimmy Dore, everyone in the audience was laughing, and she was embarrassed about it. And he said that he felt bad about the situation, about her, that she was embarrassed about this, and he wrote an apology card to her and brought her a gift and talked to her about it. And due to Jimmy Dore, everything was cool after this, you know, and that's the main story about this. And exactly there's the point. When he told the story in his response videos, he contradicted himself in his presentation, and this is the point. And my girlfriend explained this to me. You know, when he was explaining the situation, he was smiling, you know, and he was smirking about the incident. And she said, and my girlfriend says, a woman sees this as a signal that his apology was not meant. It was not what was really meant. It was fake. You know, if he was sorry when this happened, I think he should still be. She said he still should be sorry about this when he talks about this today. And this was the major mistake Jimmy Dore made. And at this point, he got the TYT viewers on his side. You know. We got another video which we were going to show, which goes even further from another commentator, and you can clearly see, you know, they see this. They see you got to see you see this through a woman's eyes. You know, she's seeing Jimmy Dore, and they cannot stand Jimmy Dore. You know, they're seeing the typical stereotype, right? There's an old white or an elderly white man, you know, making jokes about a young woman exposing herself in a certain situation. And he is smiling and smirking when he's talking about this. And this is what stucks, you know? And everything else which comes after this, what he presents, he did right. I mean, if someone would go, and my good friend also says that in her opinion, what was going on with Anna Kasparian, where she started the accusations in the TYT segment, she said, you can clearly see that she is absolutely dishonest, but she knows how to present it. She presented it in the right way, so every woman can identify with her situation. And that's the point of it. And there, Anna Kasparian won this, If Jimmy Dore wouldn't have done this mistake, in my opinion, and only present and say, okay, hello, this is what happened, and talks about this in a serious way and say, okay, and now let's look back at the harassment accusations and let us see. And he would not have even to comment each clip. He could have cut them in a row and then say in the end, okay, guys, now make up your own opinion on this, and we'll see. Good night. But it was too much, and this well, there I think this step was not a good one, but I don't want to defend in any way TYT with this, what we saw, what clips we saw, as I said, I could not imagine that this was possible. This was I don't know. I think Larry Flint did more for journalism with his Hustler as those guys. It was despicable. It was absolutely horrible, And in my opinion, their credibility is now absolutely burned. For me, it was burned, since 2016. But with this, how can they ever go on talking about women's rights, or other stories, And there I'm coming to the other thing, They're bad journalism, and they're wanted bad journalism, I saw several things about the situation in Syria now, and among this, of course, what Aaron Matei had to say. Well, I think I can trust Aaron Matei in this and other sources I read about. But then you got a TYT, who goes and says, okay, we are presenting our own Syria expert, and you expect that there would come something, which that there would come a discussion, about the facts. And then they got the guy on the screen, and it could not be more comical. The first line he said, okay, thank you for inviting me, but I was never to Syria. You mean at this moment, you could forget about this. And they are trying to gaslight their audience, and I'm coming to the next point. Okay, I'm seeing that I'm moving a little bit too fast, because I wanted to show you a second clip first, when I talked about Jimmy Dore's mistake in his presentation. Let us see the Anna Kasparian video in slide 7, please.
Anna Kasparian used to dress, when I worked there, unbelievably inappropriately for a newsroom. She looked like she was going to a rave. The skirt, one time she came into the newsroom with a skirt so short. It wasn't a pencil skirt. It was like a fluffy one too, but so short that she bent over in front of me, and I literally saw her ass and her thong. She's wearing a thong. I literally saw it. Everybody saw it. And I go, hey, Anna, nice news skirt. And everybody laughed. Like, they laughed louder than I thought they would. And so it humiliated her. She got humiliated in the middle of the newsroom. And I did it. And I felt bad. At that time, we were friendly. And I was just busting her balls, right, for dressing like that in a newsroom. You're going to bend over and show me your ass? I think that's a little... I'm not offended, but I think that's a little risque. Imagine if I did that. If I walked around showing my ass to everybody. So...
yeah. And this is exactly what I was referring to, If you feel honestly sorry about this, you cannot laugh about it 7 years later, you know, and this is exactly where he made the big mistake, you know, with which many people, you know, who might be also shocked about what they saw about TYT, what they did in the past, you know. But here you can also see the argument, you know. Look at Anna Kasparian, how young she was at that time, you know, and she had to deal with a mostly male environment, you know, in the media, and of course, I think it does not justify the German Schadenfreude she often showed in the clips, you know, when it was attacking women who could not defend themselves at that time. I think this is absolutely despicable. But, you know, it goes into the mind, you know, that and the other thing is, you know, how many we are no women, you know, we cannot feel how a woman feels who has experienced, you know, harassment and molestation, etc., you know. And I think considering this, you know, yeah, it was very harmful for Jimmy Dore, you know, what I think what mostly his female audience concerns, you know, because he will, as we saw lots of comments on YouTube under this, you know, what a white jerk Jimmy Dore is that it did not go about the topics anymore. It was a one-sided war, and all this, you know, it's a personal feud, you know, and I think Jimmy Dore acts a little bit, and this is dangerous in my opinion, like Captain Ahab when he was hunting the white whale, you know. I think Jimmy Dore does such valuable stuff, you know, in reporting and presenting important journalists and raising questions, including getting into conversation with conservatives, etc., that he should not minimize himself, you know, by going after people like Uygur and Kasparian, you know. He should be above this, you know. But you could see, you know, and it is easy said, you know, if someone would come up and blackmail me or send me such a message like this, you know, guys, you know, I would be fuming for retaliation.
What message was that?
The message Anna Kasparian sent to Jimmy Dore, where she said he should remember what he did to her 7 years ago. Where you know, she referred to the incident, you know, and she wanted him to stop talking. You know, he never addressed this topic, but they wanted, as it seems, to me it is quite obvious that they could not defend anymore from the constant attacks of Jimmy Dore, which in parts were absolutely rightfully, you know, when it comes to the facts, you know, about Syria, maybe about Russiagate, etc., that he debunked this and he ridiculed them. And that's the point, you know. You can contradict your other media, in my opinion, you know, but you should stand over it. You know, a guy like Jimmy Dore should stand over it, you know, and say, okay, they're wrong here. But often it has a little elbow, you know, connected with this, you know. Yeah, which sometimes makes it not good to watch, you know. And we all know that Jimmy Dore is no angel himself, you know. We know about what he did, you know, at the convention where he met Alex Jones, you know, and how fast he could run after this. And I'm also not happy with parts of his reporting about Jimmy Dore, that about Bernie Sanders, you know. We know that Bernie Sanders was not the right one. He was too weak, he had no killer punch, you know. But sometimes he does too much, you know, but this doesn't change it, you know. He delivers millions of tons more valuable content than TYT did since they abandoned Bernie Sanders in 2016, my opinion, you know.
Well, that's the thing, you know. What you've got going on is, you know, Anna and Cenk have let down, say, the progressive community.
Yes.
And that's a known thing. So you've got Jimmy Dore coming along, and he's going to work off that. And so then he puts his own personal stuff on top of something. So we got we got two layers here. We've got
More.
Oh yeah, more, but two very distinct ones where we have, the fact that TYT was really becoming a voice of empire, and that they were only reflecting, mainstream left values as typical democratic stuff, really mainstream, and if they have any future, that's where it is. They're going to have to go mainstream, and
Yes.
it won't be hard to do since they've already maybe sold out. But the other thing is, I agree. I don't like what Jimmy did, but I do understand that he knew he was on solid ground, and
Yes.
he was going to get a lot of views. And yeah, the locker room talk. Have I ever talked like that? Oh yeah. But would I again? I hope not. As you get older, you understand how women feel.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. A young man's very innocent can be innocent with that kind of talk, because they don't know what the effect is on women. They don't get it. They don't see the implications.
And
but as you
that's
grow older,
it.
you really should know better. And at Jimmy's age, to do that publicly, that was a very, very bad move.
Yes, and it was also not a good move, that Steph behind was also laughing and applauding him. My girlfriend said maybe Steph should be the one in the situation, who could understand firsthand, how it is to be as a woman, and she should have warned Jimmy Dore, But you're shaking your head, Amos. What's your point?
Yeah, I think she's incapable of it. She's a lapdog. She's just basically is there as a sidekick. Never contradicting or presenting any original point of view from her side. She's just there to cheer him on. So it's kind of, to me, it looks pathetic. But as to the this whole incident, to me, it's less jerky than it is creepy. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it seems like a creepy kind of behavior.
Cringe
more than harassing, but of course it's harassing to the offended party. But to get onto your point as to who TYT represent, I don't doubt that that TYT's principal people are primarily progressive in terms of their ideology. I think they've perhaps taken a slightly different tangent to it. I think there's enough place in the progressive field for a lot of pluralism of ideas, such as crystal balls and even Sam Cedar, certainly TYT and others. I think there's space for a pluralistic field. It's not like we have to have the one party line, and that's something that's very much coming out of Dore. He would like everybody to have a party line, and to me that smells of communism and authoritarianship, and it's kind of scares me. I listen to all these different sources, and even I listen sometimes to what's his name? I can't think of it. I listen to a variety of people on the left, and then I make up my mind. I don't wait for someone to tell me what is correct and what isn't, which Dore appears to be attempting to do.
Yes. Okay. I would like to tell you about my thoughts. I've wrote them down, and okay. Let's first go to let's roll the clip, and there we have Emma Vigilant and how she got the situation, what's going on, and yes, just roll it. We will talk about it.
Right, exactly. So let's bring that powerful woman down a notch. That's how I'm going to talk to Francesca Fiorentini in an abusive way. That's how I'm going to talk about Ocasio-Cortez and other women. And it really just grates at him when there are women in positions of power that don't take shit, and this is how he chooses to put them down. It's textbook. And just because he liked Bernie Sanders at one time doesn't mean he has any progressive core values that are something to be espoused. I mean, the way that his fans are going after Anna and other women speaking out about this shows that this is not the same audience that we're speaking to here. This is a separate, different right-wing audience. It's a lot of right-wingers who want to say, oh, I hear both sides, so I'm going to listen to this lefty Jimmy Dore, when everything about him just screams misogynistic, right-wing, racial resentment towards Ocasio-Cortez, towards the squad. I mean, that's everything that's embedded in the way that he talks about politics. So, I mean, like, and it's not just like stupid YouTube drama, and I'm emotional about it because I love Anna and I don't like it, and I experience sexual harassment too in a very extreme way. But like, it's important because he's completely disempowering a lot of his audience who could have leftist inclinations, and turning them and red pilling them basically, and they don't even realize it. And so if anybody watches that and still thinks Jimmy is like a good guy, give me a break.
There's a point, don't you think, Markus?
I think the following. I think it's. I'm sad. I'm sad for Emma because I think she was always a woman with a lot of courage. You know, if you remember where she went, she was down in the streets and reported about a lot of things. You know, and she did not shy away from going directly into Republicans and ask them for their opinion. You know, but I think this proves my point. You know, apart from them, I don't know in how far someone is somehow connected with someone. There's also a very sad Twitter feed coming from David Dole. I think it is exactly what I said. You know, up to a certain point, Jimmy Dore ruined it with his presentation of his narration of the apology, and you know, and when a woman, you know, as I said, experienced harassment and molestings and stuff in her own private life, then of course, you know, it's a kind of reflex, you know, that you automatically defend the woman who experienced the same thing, you know. And as I said, you know, you can argument that Anna Kasparian was young in 2008. Well, in my opinion, it doesn't change a certain character trait, you know. But as I said, Anna Kasparian presented her accusation professionally. Jimmy Dore did it not, though he absolutely executed them and showed up the hypocrisy around TYT. But let me close this, you know, to what conclusion I came, because, you know, I thought about it a lot, and I think I wrote it down here. I will read it out. I said I'm thinking on another most important level, it is not about new skirts, camel toes, force the vote, or Aaron Matei. It is about the question what progressivism is, and more importantly, it is about who labels and owns it. In the past years, especially since Bernie's first run, we saw progressivism got hijacked by the mainstream more and more. We saw candidates we elected in office joined it instead of keeping their promises to fight for the people. Look how badly the squad failed us. I look at the recent interview she gave at where was it? A Morning Joe. It was disappointing. It was 100% disappointing. You know, TYT is and was a big part in this game because of their reach with 5 million followers. If they really have 5 million, I dare this. You know, if you look at the ratings. They were knowingly wrong about so many things, like force the vote, Julian Assange, Aaron Matei, Russiagate, etc., etc. But they did it anyway. It became TYT's business model to gaslight their audience and lead them directly into the arms of the damn establishment to take profit from this. To say it clear, TYT is neither left nor progressive in any way. And here is what happened, if you remember, when critical voices were silenced in 2015, were tried to silence in 2015, 2016, and being called naive purists. Regarding where you're at right now, we should have learned the lesson and called those guys what they really are, fakes. And TYT, in my opinion, is fake to the core. But as I said, Jimmy didn't do himself a favor for a lot of the audience who followed this, you know. And I think in the end is about who owns progressivism. And we can see clear attempts how they're watering down legislations, etc. We see a squad and other so-called progressive candidates who are obviously doing nothing but tweeting, you know, and running their mouth. And and that is the problem, you know. And if once they relabeled what progressivism is, they own it, you know. It is like, look around, you know, every big company, you know, has start advertising for LGBTQ. You know, the big ones. You know, you nearly cannot find maybe gas companies who are pretending, you know, to be the best company for the environment. You know, it is the question is, how much can you bullshit your audience? And I hope that a lot of people woke up, you know, apart from the poor presentation of Jimmy Dore at the beginning with his apology. As I said, you know, I can understand him in the end, you know. I would look for retaliate. I would look for rocket launcher, you know, when this came up, you know. But he should have been advised better, you know. And I think he should leave now what's rest in pieces of TYT and concentrate on what he really does in a very good way, in my opinion, is presenting independent voices and trying to get things on the ground.
Yeah, if I may, I think there's two sides to the coin of progressivism and its impact in the Democratic Party. You can see definitely that a lot of them are sucking content from progressives and aligning themselves, at least ideologically, more and more with progressive initiatives. Of course, not people like Cinema and Mention, but you can see that, for example, the House has voted. All the Democrats in the House have voted on the HR 1, and also on the Medicare for all, bringing Medicare for all as a vote, and so it's visible that they're imitating, and I think imitation is the best compliment, and it may be watering down things, and for sure it is watering down, but keep in mind that if you had a minority that was purely ideologically pure but had still a minority, that they couldn't achieve anything by that. So the only time that they can achieve is when they can get buy-in from more centrist or other people that previously would have not supported them, and maybe now they will support part of it. So you have to look at it as an ongoing battle, and not as there's not going to be a point where everybody in the Democratic Party is going to be progressive. It's just not going to happen.
If you see a loose cannon like Joe Manchin, you know, doing his one-man show there, you know, and seeing on the other side that we saw this a couple of weeks ago, you know, we saw a helplessly looking Cori Bush, you know, being asked in how far the squad is connected, and you know, her answer was according to this, there is no connection, right? And exactly that's it. I can only repeat myself. The people voted them into office because they promised to fight. They didn't. Yeah. They are trying to relabel what progressivism is, and they want to have it, you know, to keep everyone else, as Cenk says, on the loony left, you know. Everyone, and would like to refer quickly to Emma, what she says, what Jimmy Dore did, for the left. He was one of the few, or in comparison to the to TYT, etc., and not to talk about Sam Shader, who forced the vote, who promoted to do this, and the problem is they wanna do the excess journalism, they wanna stay to have the people on their shows, and they're only asking them bubblegum questions and nothing serious, because otherwise they would not show up anymore. But when it goes around the beef, and this is why I say they are fake. I went through the videos of them. There was absolutely no point of criticism regarding the squad. For anything. They're protecting them, and this is not a fucking self-described news show job, right? And
well,
there you can say what you want. Is Jimmy Dore much more honest? He is. We can agree that he might be an angry white man, etc. Maybe he is. I don't give a fuck. But if I look at the content and what he really has to offer in comparison, holy shit, TYT, get off the air, And what I would like to close with this very disappointing statement coming was twittered by David Dole.
Hold on.
He says comparing workplace sexual harassment.
Hold on. Let me.
Yeah, sorry. Please.
Play it.
Please.
Comparing workplace sexual harassment that Dore was just laughing about to a decade-old conversation about a celebrity is some next-level moronic shit. JFC, what happened to you? I have endless respect for your father, but you've lost your mind since associating with Dore.
For my taste, it's too one-sided, and I don't know what David Dole is trying to do. Maybe he wants to also profit, from the TYT viewers, to getting on their side. I don't know. I try to make up my mind, because I gotta admit, when this war started, I was absolutely pro Jimmy, but when you reflect this over some days, you also see the weak points, and coming up with two little paragraphs, well, this is not enough, and in another tweet I read today, he wants that everyone who shares the views of Jimmy Dore, etc., should unfollow him, and this is the discussion we can expect for someone who calls himself a rational national.
Useful idiocy.
Sorry, I don't get it, and I think it's disappointing because I like to watch his content. In some parts, I think he was not accurate or wrong, but okay. And but this is cheap. This is cheap, David. Sorry.
I disagree. I think he makes an important point about the comparison that was drawn, and it's a tweet. You're gonna have a short 2 sentences. You can't have an essay. So.
Oh, you can send another tweet. You can put a 1 on it and on the other one a 2. So everyone would know it's a follow-up tweet.
It's not a format.
I repeat, I go back to this being at 2 levels. You've got what progressivism is and what people think it is, and I'll tell you what I think it is in a minute. But you combine that with this personal stuff, which really has no place in the politics at all. This is just it's personal stuff. And, keeping it all straight seems to be tough. Okay. So, in my YouTube feed, my algorithms have been pushing at me all this stuff at me for a couple of weeks now. And I pretty much ignored it because I got my mind made up what TNT is and what progressivism is. And if you want change, if you believe the world is not cool the way it is, and it's unjust and it needs fixing, and you really are sincere about that belief, then you are progressive. And if so, you will not sell out, and there may be a temptation to do it, because how are we going to make change? Well, we're only going to make change if we work with other people. And the problem with that then is everything starts getting watered down, values get compromised, and pretty soon you've got
nothing,
franchise of former values. And so that's how I'm seeing all this, that I actually agree with Markus. When you started this out, you talked about how you felt about Cenk, and I pretty much agree with you. For years, I see some really good reports that I really liked, and then I see some others where he was just taking a view that was really unbalanced. And then I've watched Anna. She loves to be a presenter on the Jacobin. That's one of her other jobs. It's interesting to see her. I watched her interview on Noam Chomsky a few weeks ago, and she's another one to figure out. I kind of figured her out in my own way. So where I am, I got better things to do than pay attention to, the personal stuff. And as far as Jimmy goes, I like Jimmy. I do think he's a progressive. I think Emma was totally off. She's a sellout, but not Jimmy. I don't. As far as the progressive values go, I think Jimmy's got them. Well, being inappropriate, making a mistake, okay, he did. But
you don't think that he crosses over to the far right in some cases? I mean, obviously he's made those distinctions himself.
If I'm going to put something out there, and I think in your heart, if you're truly progressive, you're going to have some weird contrarian values here and there that the other side may have, which you're supposed to oppose. And that comes from thinking about your stuff and coming to your own conclusions. If you just want to be a progressive and follow everything the progressives are supposed to do, guess what? You're not. You're a sellout. You're having everybody tell you what to do, what to think, and where are your values? Where is the outrage of what you see in the world that you want different? So that's
that is exactly
that's what I think.
But Keith, that's exactly what Dore would like the audience to do. He doesn't present a plethora of opinions or something. He says he attacks anyone who does not follow his logic.
Well, I say good for him, because somebody's got to do it, because you get the TNTs of the world who just want to water everything down. No, it was not okay to forget about $15 an hour. No, it's not okay to forget about health care for all. And so if Jimmy wants to beat that drum, let him do it.
The problem is that Jimmy Dore is very aggressive in his representation, and Amos, you're absolutely right. He is hitting hard, but the problem is, and this was shown by the incident, that he can, in most cases, he can back it with facts, and the other side cannot, and this makes them even more furious. And this is what we saw the past week, when suddenly, out of nowhere, the direct damage got to Jimmy Dore for Anna. But it doesn't change. It doesn't change what, in my opinion, what's really going on in the core. That it is a fight about what does it mean, what are progressive values, and in how far the democratic establishment can water it down and still profit from being labeled, at least in parts, to be progressive. And they are fucking not. And that's my problem in it. Anyway,
so
it was, God.
You have another,
yeah, please.
Had another Twitter from Kasparian.
Yeah.
Don't really need to relitigate. I'm done. These are not people I trust or want anything to do with. That includes their supporters, And anyone who thinks it's okay to defend Jimmy, when he himself made this public and admitted to degrading me. By all means, stop watching TYT.
Go away.
Go away.
Go away.
Go
Go away.